Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check out the bestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, guys, please make sure to hit the like, give us a thumbs up, share this link, get it out there. That way new people can find us and new people can see us. Also, comment, I love the feedback, and remember to subscribe. Click that notification bell. That way you guys can get notified for future shows and things that we're doing in the future. And keep in mind, guys, we are completely viewer powered. That means we're fully funded and supported by you, the listener, and the viewer. Essentially, that means I'm not a sellout, right? So please consider donating, supporting. The links are in the description below. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. I've got a really, really cool treat for everybody tonight. I'm stoked. I am absolutely excited. I haven't been able to do one of these shows in quite a while due to technical difficulties and all of that stuff. But tonight it's going down. 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on the Best Damn Podcast Discord, which I did drop the link to the event in the chat before the show started. And I also put the link to the event, not only for the Best Damn Fam live, private, uncensored, Embalmed Alive is the name of the show tonight, which if you have any type of imagination whatsoever, if you know anything about ancient Egypt and you can actually just look at the image and see what they're doing, then you have an idea as to where I'm going with this. And I promise I am going to knock your fucking socks off tonight, because this agenda, this transhumanist agenda, this agenda for, control and kind of the thinning down of the herd, so to speak, this goes back to ancient times. And this is part of very dark, esoteric, and occult practices as well, which just so happens to be something that I specialize in, right? So it's going to be quite the combination. This coincides with the alien agenda, believe it or not. Whenever we look at demonic, archonic entities and what we would call demons and angels and all of that, there is an extraterrestrial connotation to this, and you guys are going to see that tonight. I'm also going to show you how there is an active agenda of the terraforming of the earth and what looks like the total assimilation of humanity into the triple helix DNA, right? And what that actually means. I can't say a lot of stuff here on the public platforms for very, very obvious reasons, but I wanted to give you kind of a sneak peek in a preview and give everybody a heads up. So look, this is how it will work. I will have an unlisted link on John Boy 513 channel for those who, there's like a limited capacity as far as being able to watch it live inside of the Discord. I'm not sure. I think it's like 30 or 40 people at one time can watch the live video inside that room. Which I'll try to extend the limit if it's, necessary. And just to let you know, those who donate and support, they get access to that. They can go right in there and watch that, and they get first dibs. If you want to join the Best Damn Fam, it's $35 a month, and you get access to these shows, which are weekly, private, live, uncensored shows on Discord, and they're always just crazy shit that's just, way too hot for the community guidelines. You'll also get access to the extended tarot and astrology readings that we will be posting on the regular. I'm committed to my tarot now. So those of you who are butthurt about it, I'm sorry, but I just love tarot. So, you know, I got to do what I got to do. Not only do you get access to that, but you get merch. You know, there's a million different stuff on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, depending on the route that you go. Now, tonight, after the private show, I do have another event that is scheduled, and the link is also in the description to that. It's going to be on Discord. It'll be voice only, and we're going to do a post-show chat. And what I'm going to offer is one free question tarot reading, one free question tarot reading to all the people that join me in the post-show chat. So let's just say hypothetically, you know, you want to know if your old lady or your old man's cheating on you, right? Or you just want to know if you're dedicated to, or what you're dedicated to currently is your calling. You know, it can be a variety of things. So I'm going to do that for everybody, and it's going to be free. Those of you guys that want to join the post-show chat, I think it'll be really cool too. Like I've said in the past, I much rather do the one-on-one readings, and I like the collectives. They're fun. But the one-on-one, I get more of a feel when I'm able to talk to somebody and all of that. And it'll be audio only, but everybody will get a free question for a reading if they want that tonight after the private show. Join us over on Discord if you just so happen to not have access to the Discord, or you can't get in the room for whatever reason. Like I said, there's also an unlisted link over on JohnBoy513. I do have all of those channels. If you go to the homepage here on whatever channel you're watching from, you should see related channels, and it'll have JohnBoy513, The Best Damn Podcast, BDP2, BDP Official. So make sure you subscribe to all of those, because I use all of them for different things. You know, this is something to really encourage people to step up, support the channel, donate to the channel, and get something back. You know, I know it's really hard for a lot of people out there nowadays to just want to give money away, even though the spirit of giving is awesome. So, you know, I put a lot of energy into this. So hopefully you receive my energy in a positive way, and hopefully it brings you enlightenment, and hopefully, you know, the whole community feel brings a lot more joy to your day, a lot more joy to your evening, helps you unwind, whether you're kicking back, drinking, smoking, or just sitting naked on the couch listening to Pink Floyd. Not that I do that occasionally, but you know, there should be a lot of benefits for it. So, you know, guys, if you can, you know, the channels has been shut down for the last couple of weeks. We're trying to crank it back up and get everything going again. Like I said, I've been working on the websites. I've been working on everything. I've been writing some stuff, which I will be dropping on Patreon and the YouTube channel memberships as well. If you go over to Patreon also, I've already got some of the Best Damn Fam Uncensored library uploaded there. So the top post that I have pinned, if you go to the pinned post and click on that link, and I've checked it out, it works and everything's good. I actually have like a Dropbox membership now, so it'll be the same link from now on going forward. And you can get access to literally, I've got over hundreds of videos, and they've never been on YouTube. Like, these videos have never been even on YouTube, you know, because they're that fucking crazy, basically. And these are previous private shows that we've done, you know, previous things that we've done in the past, and they are epic. And when you look at them too, if you go through them, you will understand this agenda inside and out. Of that, I have no doubt. If you go through the library and you start watching those videos, there is no fucking way that after you watch half of them, that you won't have a PhD in bullshit that's being played on you right now, right? You're going to understand, you know, the whole scam that that essentially grabbed the population of the world by the balls a couple of years ago and hasn't let go since. You're going to understand how that correlates to celestial events, celestial phenomena, including Planet X, the Nemesis system, and what the relation to that is. You're going to understand how sustainable development plays a role into all of this and where it fits in. You're going to fucking understand why they elected, Orange Man with little hands, and why he was the way he was, and why the events that unfolded during his exit happened the way they did. You're going to understand the whole shit, man. Like, you're not going to be in the dark anymore. And you're going to be able to take this to your family that thinks you're a lunatic like mine does. Mine thinks I'm batshit crazy. You're going to be able to take this to your family and be like, yo, check this out. Like, this dude's talking about this, and he's not just talking. He's got white papers. He's got documents. He's got all of this stuff to back up every single word he's saying. And he's showing how it's all. And it's like this motherfucker ain't even trying. It's that connected. It's that connected, that premeditated. Like, it's ridiculous, So we've got a challenging time ahead. Astrologically, let me just point this out. As we go into August, I believe there's 4 planets that are going retrograde, and Jupiter is going retrograde, which is, it's huge. This is going to affect people in a major, major way. Not everybody will be affected equally. Like, luckily, my sign of Virgo, I'm going to be coasting right on through, like, I'm going to be good, whether or not Jupiter goes retrograde or not. But, this is going to kind of let the air out of the tires, out of a lot of people, right? Because we gotten gassed up by a lot of these energies over the last couple of months, especially since the new moon in Aries, as we've been trying to manifest new beginnings, as we've been trying to really work on our manifestations, as we've really been trying to bring shit together as a collective. And as the stage has been set for the reorganization of the global hierarchy, right? And you could almost mark my fucking words, October this year, I would pay attention to what will actually take place as far as the shift in paradigm, geopolitically. That's the one thing I would really pay attention to, and it could come out of nowhere type shit. Like, it could be really surprising energy, and not just that. I think we all know a lot of this shit's coming. Like, all of us, we got this sixth sense to this, but I don't think it's going to come the way that many people anticipated. I don't think it's all going to be, the day the earth stood still type shit, all at once. I do believe that this is going to be more of a slower burn than maybe even myself anticipated in the past, and that's why this agenda, the Embalmed Alive, it's pivotal. It is the key piece to all of this. I don't know how many people are aware of that, but it really is. Everything about the agenda hinges around what I will be talking about tonight. And what I'll be talking about tonight is completely outlawed on public platforms. Like, it doesn't matter where I try to take this, they will shut me the fuck down. They'll remove my video, they'll give me strikes and whatever, and do anything to keep you from hearing this, because it's that critical, it's that important, it's that pivotal, and it's that relative to the future and ascension prevention. And I've even spoken about recently the solar activity and how this kind of has a really drastic effect on the way that positive and negative ions are charged during solar minimums and maximums, and how that affects our consciousness and spirituality, and how when we are in minimum, it's more conducive to parasitic entities being within our auric field. So I mean, guys, I'm telling you, it all gels, it all goes together. And once you understand why they are supplanting organic humanity for something else, and then you see what's going on with the sun, and you see what's going on with astrological alignments, and why there are these agendas that have been laid out and premeditated for a long time now. You're going to start to ask real deal questions like, hold the fuck up. You know, this isn't human. This isn't human. And matter of fact, not only is it not human, it's anti-human. This agenda, it's anti-human. Almost the entire world has been deceived by it. Okay, we're all under a paradigm right now that is a heavy illusion. We're under the dream world, right? Morpheus is getting busy on all of our asses, you know, especially recently. And that's why it was so huge to have the geomagnetic storms that kind of took his fucking foot off the gas, or his foot off of our neck, basically, on the illusion. So why we got this moment to come up for air, right, and really catch our breath consciously and get out of the goddamn dream world for a second, which I've been locked in that bitch for the last 6 months. I'm not even lying to you guys. Like, it's been wild. If I could only tell you, and I will tonight, I'll tell some personal stuff. I like doing that during the private ones too, sharing stories. On some of my adventures, you know, as you guys know, I did a lot of traveling as I was taking a break. That's my favorite thing to do, is to go meet people, subscribers and stuff, and go see places. But during my travels, and I travel in a multitude of ways, just to keep it real. I travel consciously, spiritually. I am a traveler that way, for sure. It just so happens to be one of my most powerful gifts, is to travel. And it was to the point to where I couldn't even keep my consciousness inside of my body. Like, that's how strong the magnetic forces were pulling on me at one point. And, you know, I was a rookie to it. You know, I had never really taken my spirituality to that level. I've always been a very spiritual cat. And, you know, since I've been doing this, I have been increasingly more spiritual and increasingly more in tune with my gifts, right? Whether it be the ability of prophecy, to, prophetic ability, whether I have dreams. I see a lot of things in dreams. I have dreams regularly now. Visions, feelings, reading of energy, through your intuition, and as well as like the school book type of shit, we all get into too, where, esoteric teachings and occult practices, different rites and rituals, and, reading of tarot cards, astrology. That's one thing. But we have natural gifts as part of ascension, and we are at the end, most of us. It's going to be, as we go to, especially myself, because we're going into, as we go into September, and there'll be like a new moon in Virgo and all of this. Like, this is going to be, and that's how this works, by the way. These cycles work based on your astrology of where you're usually at, and what opportunities you have available to you consciously during the ascension process, just in case you didn't know that. I will talk about that more as we go further along, or at least I'll talk about my understanding of that, so, but pertaining to these injuries, pertaining to these energies, I don't know why I said that, whoops, pertaining to these energies, though, each one of us are on our own individual path of illumination. Okay. And, their self-illumination is really how it's supposed to be done, I believe. If there is a way that you would say, oh, or it's supposed to be, I don't like saying that about anything, and believe it or not, even the shitty outside and external influence has been some of the key driving factors in my spiritual growth. Even though the lowest scumbag, shit stains of people that have done the worst, atrocious acts to me have stimulated my growth in ways I cannot even fucking explain to people. It's like I've been through hell, and each hellish moment that I rebound from and I come back up after, and that's what it is. It's that constant, that cycle, right? That infinity cycle, that Vesica Pisces, or that Ouroboros, when we constantly make that drop back down into descension, I go deeper each time I descend. I go to a deeper depth of hell, within myself and consciously. And when you go there consciously, your world reflects where you're at consciously. So and I don't know how many people have experienced this, especially if you're a wanderer or a traveler, or a free agent of some kind. Then you understand that when you go to that deep, dark depth of a level, those Scorpio-like waters, and I happen to be a Scorpio ascendant. When you go to that, it's a transformative state, and consciously what you experience, your reality reflects that. So if you're in a really dark conscious state, every fucking person around you will adapt that if your consciousness is more magnetic than theirs is, or if theirs is compatible with yours and able to essentially get on the same wavelength or vibration. So if we're hanging out with high conscious beings, right, like people like us, in communities, if one of us shoots the fucking moon, then the rest of us is more than likely going to hitch a ride and meet that person up on the moon, because we're that close in vibration, and we're that attracted to one another magnetically already. Vice versa, though. So if one of us takes a fucking nosedive and descends all the way to the depths of Sheol, well, all of the consciousness around us is going to reflect Sheol, right? It's going to reflect darkness. And I've talked about this for a long time. Your consciousness will meet you where you're at. Your oversoul, your higher self, your spirit will meet you where you're at. So if you are on some low vibe shit, don't worry about it. Big spirit is your Ka and your Ba is gonna make sure to make low vibe world around you, right? They're gonna meet you in low vibes. If you're on some high vibe shit, your Ka and your Ba is going to meet you on some high vibe shit. And every consciousness you interact with, that will be the level that you communicate with those particular spirits. Now, whether they're spirits, disembodied spirits, or what we would call disembodied spirits, spirits of dead people, which is strange because when you're outside of normal conscious state, you can even speak to people and see their death before it happens. I mean, it's a strange thing. You realize that there is no time. You realize that there is no death. Like when you get to a certain state and you're able to really separate yourself from the shell or the husk that is you, and you're able to see not only just, I have seen myself and channeled myself through every person I've came across before. I've been that in tune in some moments to where my own voice is coming back to me through other people, because that's how we are connected in that way collectively. There is a collective connection of consciousness. And then we have that individual persona where there is a separation as well, right? It's always paradoxical within the reality. This is a reality of death and rebirth, and that is the illusion or the dream. As part of the construct. That's the image, the graven image, the distorted reflection, right? That's the dream world. That's this world. And as the veil drops, which I told you I also believe is relative to the magnetic field and solar activity, and this activity is triggered by celestial alignments, right? Is the triggering phenomenon is celestial alignments, whether it is the final conflagration and all bodies coming back to their original space. And in their original space, you have to think we were in the Garden of Eden, right? We were in the Garden of Eden in our original state, according to scriptures and texts. So we were in a very high vibratory state, in a very high frequency, and there was no veil. We hadn't eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil yet, so we hadn't placed the veil between us yet. So in an original celestial alignment, at the end of these cycles, we go back to that state, dude. We go back to the garden, so to speak, and there is no more separation or and to me this is also relative to the precession of the equinoxes, right? That 1 degree drag, as we have the equinox spinning on the inverse as opposing what the zodiacal wheel does throughout our lunar years, right? So one spinning this direction, one spinning the other direction, and that 1 degree drag essentially is the variation between light and sound, right? That difference between the lightning and the thunder, right? Which is essentially free will, right? That small degree of separation is free will. It is the ability to, for fate, right? So ultimately, we all have destiny. There's point A and point B in the cycle of time, because at the cycle of time there is an end point, and the end point is catastrophe. It's catastrophism. It's a cataclysmic, bang, an explosion, a collision, an impact of consciousness, of fucking elements, of everything, right? It's a collision, a colliding of ideas, of solar, lunar, red, blue, light and dark, masculine, feminine. It's all of that, y'all. And that's where, the whole nemesis and asteroids and shit come into play. And out of that death and destruction is rebirth, right? It's rebirth. There births a new star, a new celestial being, like the movie The Eternals. How planet Earth is, it's like a school basically for humanity, where everybody shares one soul, infinitely resurrected in spirit, right? But the whole process that's taking place in this movie is the birthing of new angels, basically. So each cycle, the whole collective consciousness is being used as part of a process of refinement and purification and stress, distortion, evil, darkness being used as the catalyst to stimulate growth in the, one side, one serpent, the light or the dark, the yin yang, that battle taking place to see what is birthed, what type of eternal entity is birthed at the end of the cycle. And it's a new celestial being. It's a new planet. It's a new God. It's a new deity. And that's why we have, I believe, all these cycles that have all similar stories, because it's the same process played out over and over and over. From Jupiter to Thor to Zeus to Jesus to Thoth to Ptah to all of them, right? And these cycles, each time I believe we're elevating in dimensional consciousness too. So, each catastrophic ending is like, not only are we fragmenting, fracturing the collective consciousness, collective psyche, bit by bit, more and more through the reproductive process, but we are refining, in essence, our whole spirit, the spirit of God, back into one source in the end. But throughout that process, making little g gods, So humanity is like a farm or a factory, basically, for these little g gods. And are we to the point now to where all the cycles have come to a close, and the great cycle, procession of the equinox, all of this, the great cycle is upon us, and we're at the final deity, the final entity, and that's Christ, that's Christos, that's the anointing, that's Jesus, and that's the return of God, or Michael, he who is like God, where humanity's lessons, and in the Aquarian Gospels of Jesus to Christ, it talks about this when they're speaking to Jesus. He's just a dude, he's just a man, and they're talking to him, and he's like, yo, why me? Why am I the chosen one? Why? And they basically break it down to him like, yo, look, in the times of Egypt, times of Greece, times of Rome, like all these different eras, which all ended in conjunctions and alignments and catastrophe, right? These time cycles or orbits, right? Each time mankind leveled up. We went from learning, shapes, right? Different sorts of polygons and shapes and all of that, how to explain God, sacred geometry, Then in one cycle, we would learn it through numbers, right? Numerology, the numbers and mathematics of creation. Whether that's you know, what do you call it? The golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequence, right? These are all pieces of the puzzle. And then in another, we learned it through paganism, multiple deities or archetypes, right? Archetypes to understand the construct or abstract fragments of a collective spirit or a whole, right? And then in another one, we learn it through the image, the reflection of ourselves. We had finally culminated into completion and hit every level, whether it's colors, right, and chakras and metaphysics and energetic fields, or it's deities and gods and images, pyramids and polygons and shapes and geometry, or numbers and letters and all of these different aspects that, and I believe on this channel, nobody fucking illustrates how this shit works together like we do, y'all. Straight up. The Best Damn Fam, nobody does it like this. And we never get credit, which it's okay. It's not about the credit. But these are the aspects that ultimately make that Messiah, that Mashiach, right? The one who understands he's anointed, right? The place of God, right? All those will be killed except those with the place of God on their foreheads. That's New Jerusalem. That's the holy city. That's the third temple, right? When he rolled away the stone, right? We're the living stone, and we've talked about how the stones are relative to elements and base metals, and that these elements and base metals are relative to colors, and the colors are relative to deities. The deities are relative to names, and the etymology is relative to a million other things, right? So it's all different abstract concepts of one giant source. And within this source, this dream, this womb, if you will, which is like a cell, and the micro, macro, the cellular structure and anatomical build of humanity as an organic artificial intelligence, to its reflection into the stars and certain constellations and planets representing the organs of our body, even the skin representing all the people. And it's just wild when you think about how crazy and connected it all is, and how the story repeats itself over and over and over and is reflected into every aspect of this reality, right? And we have entered into a stage where we are quantum, right? We are quantitative. We are outside of the bounds or boundaries or limitations or perceived limitations of consciousness or perceived limitations of the mind, right? As Abraham was tithing 10% to Melchizedek, which Melchizedek is the highest spiritual order there is, right? The high priest of the order of Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is a spiritual order, not a DNA or a genetic order. So, it doesn't matter what race you are. Melchizedek is about the soul inside, right? So the Christ and Abraham tithed to Melchizedek. I believe Christ and Melchizedek are probably the same person, by the way. And he tithed 10%. We have governors, which are forms of archon, government systems of control. And these governors are also the colors of the rainbow, the seven rays, the planets, days of the week, which in essence are the Ark of the Covenant, right? The covenant with God, right? And this covenant is an agreement, right? It's an exchange. These governors ruling the reality, acting as this kind of controlling, constricting, yet helping force in the development and spiritual evolution, conscious evolution, and part of the transcendent process of humanity. And the earth acting as this middle plane, this middle ground to, skyrocket, either up or down. And that's what I've talked about with the whole globe earth. You're on a globe earth and you have gravity, you're pinned to the earth, right? Everything's spinning around, but you're on a flat one, then you can go up and down. That's why there's an illusion. I don't even believe it's a flat earth. I believe it's a toroidal field, and it's probably hollow or some shit, just to keep it real. But that don't even matter. The shape don't matter. But the understanding that everything is electromagnetic, everything is electrical in essence, right? And that's why God, electric, right? Archons, arc, on, right? On, as in Dogon, right? The on being the sun or the positive, right? Archons, Dogon, the dog being the moon, or like a Lucifer aspect, the darkness, Nox, pandemic, right? And think about it, Og, right? And all of it, the land of Og. I mean, these things are fucking, it's repetitive, right? And in every epic tale, Gilgamesh, Enuma Elish, Essene Gospels of Peace, Aquarian Gospels of Jesus the Christ, the Holy Bible, the Kabbalion. I don't care where you look, man. These things reinforce themselves. And, the esoteric, is that inner standing, that inner understanding of the spiritual gnosis, the spiritual knowledge, and you can see why Gnosticism was looked down upon so much, because understanding the rulers of the reality, understanding the demiurge, right, and what the principalities, powers, and dominions were actually up against and what it actually means for us is empowering. It's empowering. Knowledge is power. And when you have that true gnosis, that true knowledge, it breeds experience, it breeds wisdom, it breeds discernment, which breeds justice and breeds balance, right? And when you are balanced and you're whole and things are just and right and righteous, right, you can no longer be taken advantage of. The population, the masses can no longer be taken advantage of. And as the veil drops, right, that delay, between the precession of the equinox, that drag, it gets smaller and smaller, right? There's no field to interrupt that, no veil of forgetfulness to interrupt that. So karma, which is just essentially energy stored up positively or negatively, within your aura, okay? Karma becomes instant. Manifestation becomes instant and far more intense, and this goes for good or bad. And that's there, and I believe that's a big part of the agenda of why they wanted to knock everybody out consciously, so to speak. Think about a dumbed down population, one that's been extremely dulled down in their senses, and most of them chose that for themselves. I'm not going to keep defending a lot of people like I used to, because these people chose this for themselves for the most part, right? And that's why they're called useless eaters and all of that, because, they honestly, that's what they've become, because they've chosen that. They've chosen that. They've made a conscious decision to not take control of their lives, to not make their own choices or decisions, to not be their own person, their own being, think their own thoughts. They would prefer someone to do it all for them. They become lazy, right? And they're gluttonous in every aspect of the word, right? It's a self-centered reality most people exist within, and they'll hurt anybody, any cost, and anything to justify satiating themselves, right? Serving their own needs, or not even needs, their own desires and indulgences. And you see why, when the scales get balanced, when the veil's gone and that karma's instant, there is a constant balance within our reality, right? And that's why people that are Luciferian are constantly practicing that. If they do positive, they make sure to do a negative. They're trying to balance their world out, right? Whether you agree with that or not, I'm not here to talk about, that. But that's why you see the balance in the Baphomet, right? Is, they're trying to keep their world centered and balanced within their actions, and take things from thought and spirit and put it into from intent into real physical manifestation, giving themselves dominion or power to manipulate or to use the energies for their physical lives, right? That's ultimately what it breaks down to, and this process happens naturally. That's what these cycles are. This is a natural process of creating equilibrium on a karmic level, on an energetic level. And when that karma becomes instant, manifestation becomes instant, it is far more intense. We become wide open as we go through our own astrological cycle. Like each level that I go through consciously as part of my ascension, each time I get more and more wide the fuck open, right? And each time I'm more wide open, I have less control, guys. And until I get a hold of it, right? Until I get used to my newer conscious state. Once I have, once I adjust to my new normal, consciously, I'm able to control it and I'm able to adapt and, not be so reactive or allow fear and doubt and all that shit to kind of, drag me along. But as I've been going through this shift, a lot of the bad things that I went through is because I didn't have control and I leaned on other people. I made that same mistake the masses make, I'm believing that people are actually good and that if I trust them and if I love them and I'm kind to them, that they'll help me, they'll give to me, they'll, and I try to give energy to them and, knowledge to them and, and they ended up taking advantage of me, and even harming me in some very, very terrible, terrible ways. Like I'm lucky to be alive. Like honestly, I am lucky to be talking to you today. And I'm grateful to be talking to you today. And I'm not going to get into all the negativity about how all that came about. It's not important. It's over. I'm on to the next phase of my cycles and part of my ascension. But think about a whole world like that, guys, with all the governors taken off, and none of them. And I teach this shit. And it really ripped me a new asshole, right? When I first started being able to, kind of, when I first started being able to utilize my consciousness in that way and travel, it really ripped me a new asshole. Like I didn't know what I had opened myself up to. And there was moments where it was actually terrifying, and I attracted some terrible shit to myself. I got myself in some terrible situations. And I had a lot of energy, a lot of karma to deal with and shit too. So, and I teach this stuff and I study this. I eat, breathe, and live this shit, and I have for the last decade. So imagine, and I believe that I have an above average IQ too, right? And spiritual aptitude. So I feel like I have natural inherent gifts like you guys do. I feel like we all, our family here, all of us are more intelligent than the average person. All of us have a higher spiritual aptitude than the average bear. And that's why we're drawn to each other. That's why we are so collectively connected and why it's so easy for all of us to talk to each other. Why we end up, my last 5 girlfriends have come from viewers of this channel, because this is the community. I'm like attracting people, like myself. It's almost like, I can't be around people that's not like that anymore. I can't do the small talk anymore. I mean, I can, but I have no desire to do it. I can pretend to be asleep all day long, but it feels disingenuous. Like I have to be unique and be myself. And myself is, I'm an eccentric fucking weirdo. That's just who I am. And that's not a knock against me or you, but that's who I am. And I embrace that I love these things and I embrace that I live for knowledge, I live for learning, and I live for love more importantly than anything. I live for love, and if there's anything I chase more than anything in my experience, it's that, right? Because when we're giving unconditional love, like I told you guys the other day, just like within relationships, um, the magnetism, when you meet a person in a relationship and you're giving love and energy and you're pouring it out onto that person, well, eventually, if that person is not pouring out an equal amount, a reciprocal amount to you, and there's true balance, give and take, if there is not that, and they are just absorbing that energy, drinking up that energy, when they get their fill, they're going to go in another direction because they've had their fill of your energy. They have to give nothing back for your energy. And you will, because you want energy back, you will continuously pour your energy into them, right? And this is, narcissistic. And I hate to say it, 99% of the population is this way, and that's what I mean. Like, I chase love because I put myself in those positions, even in my content. I fucking, you guys know, I'll go on these, stints where I'll create 5 videos a day, 3 hours each video, and I'm pouring my heart and soul into this shit, my time, effort, love, energy, and, you know, um, it's no motivation for people to give back, right? They're like, oh, well, I can get it all for free from John. I don't have to give any energy back to him. I don't have to donate. I don't have to, do anything. This guy's just going to pour it out. And that's burned me, and even in relationships, like I said, the same thing where I want uh, a peaceful existence. I yearn for a spiritual, peaceful existence, a balanced existence where that is reciprocal, and not just in, my work life, but in my love life, and, all aspects of my life. I seek that, that's part of, once you evolve to a certain state, you no longer are driven by the conflict or the cheap thrills. I still enjoy the cheap thrills. Don't get me wrong. I love, I'm carnal as fuck in a lot of ways, and I'm not ashamed of it, um, to my detriment in some ways, I'm really carnal and still, a lot of ways, but I don't even see it like that. My perception of love includes carnality, that's part of my love language is carnality, and physical attraction, and, and part of how I work my everything is about physical manifestation, whether it's physically creating a video or kissing a beautiful woman, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I practice the things I practice because I want to take it into the real world. And I believe a lot of you do too, right? We get taught through half-assed religion and indoctrination, and we got one ass cheek hanging out where we're like, yo, it's only about the heavens. I'm storing it all up in heaven, and fuck the world. It's like, what? Like, what? So you're praying to God, you're living holy, you're living righteous, you're following the good book, and you're doing all of this, and you want none of this to actually be in your real physical life. The only life you're actually guaranteed to live is this physical existence, and you want none of that to manifest in this world. You know what I mean? Like, do you see how fucking, counterintuitive that is? And that's what I mean. Like, I can't live an existence like that. I will not deny myself one half of who I am, which is my carnal lower reflection. I believe I was given this experience just like you were, to experience, to experience. And part of experience is, you know, uh, enjoying the fruits of the things that we learn, enjoying the fruits of our labor, um, having beautiful interactions with other energies and other entities. And when you can develop a high conscious state, imagine the levels. And I know this for a fact because I've engaged with people like this, guys. So I promise you it's true. When you develop yourself spiritually and consciously and raise your vibration, the way you engage with the person changes. Like, that's why I prefer a one-on-one so much more to, I still love doing these videos and all of that, but personally, I get so much satisfaction out of one-on-one encounters with people that are high consciousness, high vibe, because it changes everything. It changes the way you communicate. You hear each other differently. You speak to each other differently. And, whatever you do, whether it's having fun or, whatever type of good time you have together, it totally alters that experience and takes it to, an entirely different realm of experience and an entirely different level of pleasure and joy and happiness, no matter what you're doing, if it's with your children or it's with a lover or, just a friend, it doesn't matter, right? So it's beautiful. And they're trying to take that away from you. And, I've talked about Anubis, and which is the dog head, right? Dogon, right? The pan, right? And you've seen the image on the thumbnail, right? They were shoving it right up there, right? They're robbing people. They're robbing people of this experience. They're robbing people of, the ability of ascension to take it into and manifest it into the real world and create lasting, abundant expressions of your spiritual self that will create a reality, a paradigm within yourself and within the entire world that would, in essence, give us the ability to bring heaven to the earth, and the embalming alive, in essence, is a system of control. It's keeping you locked in under the boot of those governors eternally. And I've done this to us at the end of every cycle. And not everybody has what it takes, and that's another harsh reality I've had to come to. Not everybody has what it takes to go to the next level. Not everybody's willing to put in the work to go to the next level. Not everybody is willing to put in the work for true love, right? Not everybody's willing to do that. Not everybody is willing to or have what it takes to be the type of person that's conducive to experiencing true love, right? They all say they want it, but their actions say otherwise. You can't want true love and, not be able to be a genuine person in the way that you communicate, lie and, all of that, or be genuine about who you are, misrepresent yourself to others, which a lot of folks do. You can't expect true love and not be able to control your behaviors, right? Like whether that's cheating or stealing or whatever. If you can't control the way you treat another person or yourself, then how can you expect to manifest true love? You don't really want true love if your actions don't align with true love, right? True love is like loyal and, all of these things, and people don't, they lack that ability. And it's because of that self-centered, selfish, impulsive, narcissistic archetype that's been created in this age of Laodicea, right? The lukewarm age. It's what we live in, right? The self-serving age. The fast food age where give it to me now, I don't care how greasy it is and how fast it'll kill me. We're in that age. And mankind's, declined. Ultimately, we've declined more than we've ever declined. But as you see this incredible declination of the mass population, there is that elect, that remnant that has ascended probably far past what anybody has ever been to previously. And we will probably surpass anything anyone has ever experienced. And Christ said we would. He said, you will do even greater works than these, right? And that's that balance of reality, that balance of energy, that give and take of the scales. That's judgment, right? And trial and tribulation is a test of that karma, right? Facing that dark night of the soul, going through that internal darkness and transmuting that, overcoming those karmic cycles, and righting the wrongs of past lives, our current life, bringing it all into alignment and creating a beautiful experience, a clarity where we're able to manifest and bring about bliss and pleasure and joy and happiness and love and all the beautiful things that we desire, you know. And I hate to say it, you know, you can bring about the other stuff, but there are side effects. When you pursue distorted, dark energy, you will get distorted, dark side effects. So if everything you're trying to create is along the lines of real deal fucked up evil, or what we perceive to be evil, then you can go ahead and expect those type of side effects, right? Because that's the energy that's going to come back to you. And same thing with goodness. If you want your whole reality to be puffy clouds and rainbows, well, don't expect a whole lot of carnal excitement. You know, it's about finding that balance, you know, combining the mind and the heart, the higher and the lower, the light and the darkness, the left and the right, making the two become one, and essentially feeding the soul and the spirit and allowing that to be the driver of your vehicle, which is the lower, the mirror, right? And allowing it to be used as a tool to serve your life and fulfill your life. And you can have carnal, lower, considered lower, darker experience and be just fine, as long as that's not all you see. And you understand that the pendulum will always swing back to you. So, you know, make sure that it doesn't infringe on others' free will, that it doesn't hurt other people as a result of your actions. You know, if we live a selfless life and we're considerate of others and we're considerate of people's energy, then that's the message we put out to the universe. And we have a real clean manifestation that doesn't have such fucking, you know, it doesn't have catastrophic fallout and blowback, right? So if we want to pursue pleasure, you know, if we're pursuing pleasure and it doesn't harm nobody else, right? Not where we tell ourselves, no, that don't harm nobody, it's just me, but it actually does harm people. But if it truly doesn't infringe on others' free wills and it doesn't harm others, then that's a clean manifestation, and you're not going to get a bunch of negative blowback. You're going to be in line with your desires, right? And it's going to be okay, you know. But we just got to find the balance with that, and the balance with anything. And like I said, if you're going toward the positive, you know, and you want darker experience, you can't just push the fluffy rainbow shit all the time, because you're never going to get that excitement of the lower either, you know, to me. And this is how I live. Like I told you, I like to be bad sometimes. I enjoy it. I enjoy being carnal sometimes. I enjoy, and not like hurting people. I never, you know, I'm totally opposed to infringing on others' free will. I'm totally opposed to deceiving people, um, to keep them in the dark and not allow them the free choice to decide, you know, if they want to pursue darkness or if they want to pursue light. And if they want to pursue education or whatever, I believe we all deserve that chance. We're all entitled, you know, by our birthright as children of God to pursue whatever avenue we choose to pursue without judgment or condemnation. But the problem is, those that pursue the stuff that hurts other people, they want to keep it in the dark, right? They want to keep it in the dark. They expect not to be judged. They expect not to be condemned. You know, but they condemn other people by their actions all the time. Those who sacrifice people and shit, you know, you're like condemning people by your actions. So how can you expect others not to condemn you? And this is what I'm saying. It's all about our balance and how we understand one another, how we are considerate of all of the energy as a whole. And yeah, I mean, that's what about clean manifestation and all of that. And we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about just this gnarly ass agenda that really does affect all of us. It affects our future, and it's the most important topic you could ever discuss, and we can't talk about it on public platforms anymore. Please donate. It's $35 a month. You can donate on PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Facebook Pay, or join us over on Patreon. Make sure to do that, and you get access to it's going to be weekly Discord, private Discord shows. you will have access to the Dropbox folder. And if you need the Dropbox link, just text. Or if you want to book a tarot reading or any type of reading, text 513-393-2396, 513-393-2396, or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com. And under the header, put reading or links or whatever. And like I said, I've already got the private show uploaded on the Dropbox. So I don't have every last one of them yet, but I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, and there's a lot already on there, and they'll all be uploaded, by the end of this week. It just takes days to upload that many. So if you want access to that entire library of just the best content I've ever made that's not available on public platforms whatsoever, if you want hooked up with extended tarot readings, extended astrology readings, if you want free merch every 3 months on Patreon, you get free merch, which I pay for out of pocket for that to happen. And if you want access to these private live shows on Discord every week, man, and they'll be followed by these post-show chats. And the chats are a chance for, and you'll see the setup. One person will talk at a time. You hit a button to raise your hand to let me know that you want to speak. You get the microphone, and I'm going to give free 1-question tarot readings to everybody who joins the post-show chat. In the description, the link to the Discord live event at 11 p.m. Eastern time is there. The link to the post-show chat is there, and the link to the unlisted live stream for tonight on JohnBoy513 is there. I am asking everybody, please. They've shut my channels down for the last couple weeks, and I really am. I'm putting a lot of energy into my work, and I'm putting a lot of energy into this, and I'm doing it for you, and I'm trying to bring knowledge for you. So please help me out. Help me to get this channel back going, and help me to take care of myself. This is, my living. So please donate today and support today. I would greatly appreciate it. And every little bit counts. So even if you donate $1, you'll still get to watch the live Discords and all of that. So yeah, PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, Facebook Messenger Pay. You should see the links in the chat as well as in the description box below. I'll pin them all at the top of the comment section after the videos are over. Share these links, get it out there. That way people can find me and see us. The censorship's crazy. Make sure to comment and engage. It helps with the algorithm so much. And follow and subscribe on all the platforms. And make sure to click that bell. That way you get notified whenever we go live. And yeah, I will see you guys at 11 p.m. Eastern time for probably the fucking craziest show I've ever done. I'm telling you, this one is going to be a doozy. I'm really excited. So donate, support. I desperately need the help right now, or I wouldn't keep repeating it. And please hit the like, and I'll see you guys tonight at 11 p.m.